Grady DeMond Wilson has passed away at the age of 79, marking the loss of an actor whose work became part of the fabric of American television during one of its most influential eras. For many viewers, Wilson will always be remembered for his role on Sanford and Son, where he played Lamont Sanford, the son of Fred Sanford. That role placed him at the emotional center of one of the most important sitcoms of the 1970s, a show that did far more than make people laugh. Sanford and Son was groundbreaking. It brought working class life, sharp social commentary, and unapologetic humor into American living rooms at a time when television was still carefully controlled and often sanitized. The show succeeded because of its chemistry, and at the heart of that chemistry was the relationship between Fred and Lamont Sanford. Grady DeMond Wilson's portrayal of Lamont was essential. Lamont was the grounding force of the show. Where Fred Sanford was loud, impulsive, and endlessly scheming, Lamont was measured, responsible, and quietly exhausted by his father's antics. Wilson played him not as a punchline, but as a fully realized person caught between duty and frustration, loyalty and aspiration. That balance mattered. Lamont was not simply reacting to Fred, he was carrying the weight of the household, the business, and the emotional responsibility that came with being the adult in the room. Wilson's performance gave the show depth. Without Lamont, Sanford and Son would have been noise. With him, it had heart. Wilson's performance reflected a reality many viewers recognized: children growing up faster than they should, sons managing parents who refused to change, families surviving through humor because humor was often the only release available. Those themes resonated far beyond comedy. At a time when black families were rarely depicted with complexity on television, Lamont Sanford stood out as thoughtful, capable, and human. Wilson did not overplay the role. He allowed frustration to simmer. He allowed tenderness to surface quietly. That restraint is part of why the character endured. Working opposite Red Fox required precision. Fox was explosive, improvisational, and fearless. Many actors would have been overwhelmed by that energy. Wilson wasn't. He matched it with control. His reactions grounded scenes, giving Fox's performance space to land without becoming chaotic. That dynamic became one of the most iconic father son relationships in television history. Beyond Sanford and Son, Wilson was part of a generation of actors navigating an industry that was opening slowly, unevenly, and often unfairly. Opportunities existed, but they were limited. Roles were frequently typecast, careers required patience, resilience, and professionalism. Wilson embodied that. He worked steadily, appearing in television and film during a period when simply maintaining a career was an achievement. He was not chasing celebrity. He was building a body of work that allowed him to work, to contribute, and to leave something behind. Like many actors of his era, his legacy is not measured in awards or headlines, it is measured in presence. In reruns of Sanford and Son, Wilson's performance still holds up. The humor remains sharp, but so does the emotional truth. Lamont's sighs, pauses, and quiet exasperation feel timeless. They remind viewers that comedy works best when it reflects real human tension. For generations of audiences, Sanford and Son was more than a sitcom. It was a ritual, a show watched with family, quoted at home, remembered decades later. Grady DeMond Wilson's work is inseparable from that experience. His passing invites reflection not just on one role, but on an era of television when characters were allowed to be imperfect, loud, loving, and complicated. An era when actors like Wilson helped expand what television could show and who it could represent. As news of his death spreads, fans are revisiting episodes, remembering lines, and reconnecting with moments that once filled their homes with laughter. That response is a testament to the lasting power of his work. Grady DeMond Wilson did not need to dominate scenes to be unforgettable. He anchored them. He gave balance to chaos. He brought humanity to comedy. That is a rare skill. He leaves behind a legacy rooted in authenticity, timing, and quiet strength. His work continues to live on, not as nostalgia alone, but as proof that great television endures because of performances that feel real. Grady DeMond Wilson has passed away, but Lamont Sanford remains, still sighing, still steady, still holding everything together while the world around him spins. And for those who watched, laughed, and learned from that dynamic, his contribution will not be forgotten.